Remember to like and subscribe. Welcome to Sound of a Swish. We're diving deep today into how to score in the paint in basketball.
Oh, yeah.
We're breaking down Coach Jim Huber's YouTube video, 9 best basketball moves to score in the paint, from his channel Breakthrough Billball.
Yeah, great channel.
Whether you're a seasoned player or just starting out this deep dive, is going to give you the tools and techniques to dominate down low.
Absolutely.
So imagine you've just received the ball in the post.
Okay.
What's the first thing you need to do?
Well, before you even think about making a move,
Okay.
Coach Huber emphasizes what he calls the 3 C's of post play.
Okay.
Catch, chin, and check.
The 3 C's.
Yeah, it might sound basic,
Right.
but these 3 steps are absolutely fundamental for establishing a strong base and securing the ball.
Okay, so let's break these down.
Okay.
Catch. That seems straightforward enough, right?
Right, but it's about more than just grabbing the ball.
Okay.
You want to catch it with 2 hands. Strong and secure, making sure you have full control from the moment it touches your fingertips.
Yeah.
This gives you a solid starting point for any move you want to make.
So you're not fumbling around giving the defender a chance to steal it.
Right, exactly.
Got it. What about chin?
Chinning the ball means bringing it close to your chin, almost tucking it under your jaw.
Oh, okay.
This protects the ball from defenders, making it much harder for them to poke it away or get a hand on it.
Right.
Think about it. If the ball is out away from your body, it's much easier for the defender to reach in and cause trouble.
Makes sense. Yeah. It's all about protecting your most valuable asset in that moment.
Right.
And finally, check. What does that entail?
Checking is all about awareness. Once you've secured the ball, you need to quickly scan your surroundings.
Okay.
Where's the defender? Are there any help defenders coming? Where are your teammates positioned?
Right.
This quick assessment allows you to make an informed decision about your next move.
So it's not just about scoring. It's about understanding the entire game situation in those few seconds.
It is, you need to know what's happening around you.
Coach Huber even suggests a very specific tip for where to position yourself in the paint right.
He does. Instead of setting up shop right on the block,
Okay.
Coach Huber suggests straddling the first hash mark on the court.
Interesting.
This gives you a better angle to face the basket, and it creates more space for you to operate.
Okay.
If you're right on the block, you're more likely to get jammed up and trapped by the defender.
Interesting. So it's almost like a strategic chess move, positioning yourself for maximum advantage.
Exactly. It's about thinking one step ahead and making it harder for the defense to predict your next move.
Okay.
And speaking of moves,
Yeah.
Coach Huber provides a whole arsenal of techniques to use depending on who you're up against.
Let's say you're facing a bigger, slower defender.
Okay.
What are some go-to moves to exploit that matchup?
In this scenario, it's all about using your quickness and agility to your advantage. Coach Huber highlights moves like the back pivot rip, where you quickly pivot away from the defender and create space for a shot.
Okay.
And the stop sweep baseline rip, where you fake a move one way and then explode towards the baseline for a layup or hook shot.
So it's almost like you're using their size against them,
Yeah.
and making them react to your movements rather than the other way around.
Precisely. And Coach Huber really emphasizes that the footwork for each of these moves needs to be sharp and consistent.
Right.
He demonstrates a move called the probe, where you fake a drive one way and then quickly step back to the middle for a hook shot.
Okay.
It's all about keeping the defender off balance.
I can see how mastering those footwork patterns would be key to making those moves truly effective.
Absolutely. It's like learning a dance. Every step needs to be precise and purposeful.
Right.
Otherwise, you'll trip over your own feet.
Right. And speaking of dancing around defenders, let's flip the script.
Okay.
What happens when you're facing a smaller, weaker defender in the paint? What's the strategy then?
Well, in that case, you want to leverage your size and strength.
Okay.
It's about establishing deep post position, backing them down, and finishing strong at the rim.
So a completely different approach.
Yes.
Okay.
Coach Huber recommends moves like the crab dribble,
Okay.
where you use powerful dribbles and body positioning to back the defender down, and the drop step, also known as the spin move,
Okay.
where you use a quick pivot to create space and power through for a layup.
These moves sound like they require a certain level of aggression, almost like you're imposing your will on the defender.
That's a great point. Coach Huber talks about the mental game as well.
Okay.
You need to be confident, aggressive, and have that mindset of wanting to punish the smaller defender at the rim.
It sounds like there's a lot more to post play than just the physical moves.
Oh, yeah.
There's a mental aspect, a strategic element that you need to master as well.
Absolutely. It's about combining those physical skills with a smart, calculated approach. And Coach Huber actually has a fantastic drill that helps you practice all of these elements in a game-like scenario. He calls it the 101 in the paint drill.
Okay, I'm intrigued. Walk us through this drill. How does it work?
It starts with two players at the elbows.
Okay.
They sprint down the court, touching the lane line on their respective sides,
Mhm.
and then race to grab a chair positioned near the basket.
A chair. That's interesting.
Yes, it adds an element of competition and forces players to really hustle. The first player to reach the chair becomes the offensive player, while the second player plays defense.
So it simulates that battle for position you often see in a real game. I like it.
Exactly. The offensive player takes possession of the ball on the post and tries to score while the defender tries to prevent them from doing so. The drill continues until someone scores, and there's a big emphasis on offensive rebounds and putbacks.
So it's not just about making the initial shot, but also about fighting for second chance opportunities. Just like in a real game, you rarely get a perfect uncontested shot.
You got it. It encourages that relentless mindset that great scorers have.
This drill sounds like a fantastic way to put all those post moves into practice and develop a real feel for the flow of the game.
It is. It helps you develop those instincts and reactions that you need to succeed in the paint. But there's so much more to explore in Coach Huber's video.
Right.
He goes into the finer points of footwork, the importance of reading the defender, and even how to adapt your moves to different game situations.
This has been a fantastic start to our deep dive into the art of scoring in the paint.
We've only scratched the surface.
We'll be right back after a quick break to delve even deeper into Coach Huber's insights and uncover more secrets to dominating down low.
Don't go anywhere. There's much more to come. Welcome back to Sound of a Swish. We're dissecting Coach Jim Huber's 9 best basketball moves to score in the paint.
Okay, we've covered the 3 C's,
Right.
catch, chin, check,
Yep.
and touched on some moves for handling different types of defenders. But I'm curious, is there a unifying thread that runs through all these post moves?
What's fascinating is that Coach Huber constantly emphasizes footwork.
Okay.
And he's absolutely right.
Okay.
Think of it as the foundation for everything you do in the post.
So it's more than just those big, powerful steps.
Much more. It's about the subtle pivots, the way you plant your feet, the balance you maintain. It's like a dancer. Every movement has a purpose.
And in the video, Coach Huber is so meticulous about demonstrating the footwork for each move.
He shows how even a slight adjustment in foot placement can make the difference between creating space for a shot or getting completely shut down by the defender.
It's like those tiny details separate the pros from the amateurs.
Exactly. And the amazing thing is you can practice footwork anywhere,
Okay.
even without a ball.
Right.
You can drill those patterns over and over until they become second nature.
So it's almost like training your body to move in a certain way, almost instinctively.
Yeah. That's the goal. Once those movements are ingrained, you can add the ball back in, and you'll find your post moves become smoother, more powerful, and much harder to defend against.
That makes a lot of sense. And remember that 101 in the paint drill we talked about earlier?
Yes.
I bet that's a great way to put your footwork to the test in a game-like situation.
It absolutely is. It
Yeah.
forces you to react with quickly adjust your positioning
Right.
and use your footwork to gain an advantage.
Right.
But of course, scoring in the paint isn't just about physical technique.
You're talking about the mental game again.
Right. Coach Huber talks about the importance of having that aggressive mindset, that unwavering determination to score.
Right.
And that's especially true when you're going up against smaller defenders.
So it's about more than just using your size. It's about using your willpower.
Yes. You can't let them push you around.
Right.
You have to be willing to fight for position, finish through contact, and assert your dominance in the paint.
It's about imposing your will on the game.
And that mental toughness also comes into play when you miss a shot.
Okay.
You can't let it get to you.
Yeah.
Coach Huber really stresses the importance of going after offensive rebounds and putbacks. It's about that relentless pursuit of the basket.
So even if you don't score on the first attempt, you're already in position for the second chance.
That's a key takeaway. It's like having a backup plan already in motion.
Right.
And it's not just about hustle.
Right.
It's about anticipating where the ball might go, using your body to box out opponents, and having that never give up attitude.
I love that. Now, this might seem like a bit of a jump, but something you said about smaller defenders sparked the thought.
Okay.
You know how sometimes guards get posted up by bigger players?
Yes, that mismatch can be a real problem for guards.
Well, could a guard use some of these post moves that Coach Huber teaches, even though they're not typically playing in the post?
That's an incredibly insightful question, and the answer is absolutely yes.
Okay.
Remember how Coach Huber emphasized that everyone, even point guards, can benefit from mastering post play?
Right.
Well, this is a perfect example.
So it's like adding another weapon to their arsenal, giving them more options on offense.
Precisely. If a guard finds themselves with a smaller defender on their back,
Right.
they can use moves like the back pivot rip or the drop step
Okay.
to create space or power their way to the basket.
It's about being adaptable,
Hmm.
recognizing the mismatch, and knowing how to exploit it. It's almost like turning the tables on the opponent.
And that brings us to another important point that Coach Huber highlights.
Okay.
Adapting your moves to different game situations.
Because it's not a one-size-fits-all approach.
No, it's not.
You have to be able to read the defense
Yeah.
and adjust your strategy accordingly.
Absolutely. The moves that work against one defender might not be as effective against another.
So how do you know which move to use and when?
Coach Huber talks about the importance of film study. By watching game footage of your opponents, you can pick up on their defensive tendencies, their strengths and weaknesses. You can see how they react to certain moves and use that knowledge to your advantage.
So it's like doing your homework before the test.
Exactly.
The more you know about your opponent, the better prepared you'll be to face them.
Exactly. It's about gathering intel and developing a game plan.
Okay.
But of course, the game is unpredictable. Sometimes the defense will throw you a curveball.
So what happens then? Do you just stick to the script or do you have to improvise?
That's where your basketball IQ comes in.
Okay.
Coach Huber encourages players to be creative, to think outside the box, and to find what works best for them in that specific moment.
It's about being able to read the situation, make adjustments on the fly, and not be afraid to try something new.
Exactly. And sometimes the best solution is to simply draw a foul.
Okay.
If you can't get a clean shot off, create contact and get to the free throw line. Those free throws can be game changers, especially in close games.
That's a smart strategy. It's not always about making the highlight reel play. It's about doing what's necessary to put points on the board.
Right. It's about understanding the flow of the game, the nuances of each possession, and making intelligent decisions that benefit your team.
This has been an incredible deep dive into the art of scoring in the paint thanks to Coach Jim Huber's insights.
Oh, yeah, tons of great stuff.
But we're not quite finished yet.
That's right.
There's one more crucial aspect that we need to explore.
We're going to wrap things up by talking about one of the most subtle yet impactful skills in basketball.
Okay.
The ability to anticipate and react to the defender's moves.
Stay tuned. We'll be right back to break down that final piece of the puzzle. Welcome back to Sound of a Swish. We're in the final stretch of our deep dive into Coach Jim Huber's 9 best basketball moves to score in the paint. I'm ready for that final piece of the post-play puzzle.
We've talked footwork, the mental game, adapting your moves, but now it's time to focus on anticipating and reacting to the defender's movements.
So it's not just about executing your own moves, it's about reading the defense and adjusting on the fly.
Exactly. Scoring in the paint isn't a solo performance, it's a constant interaction between you and the defender. Think of it as a dance where each move you make influences their next step, and vice versa.
That's a great analogy. And just like in a dance, you need to be in sync with your partner, anticipating their next move.
Right. You have to read their body language. Are they leaning in, shifting their weight? Where are their feet pointing? Even their eyes can give you clues.
So you're almost playing a mind game with them, trying to decipher their intentions before they make a move.
Absolutely. For example, if you see the defender shifting their weight to one side, that might mean they're about to try and steal the ball. Or if they're leaning forward, they might be preparing to block your shot. Being able to pick up on those subtle cues can give you a split-second advantage.
It's about being proactive rather than reactive.
Exactly. You can use that knowledge to adjust your move, maybe change direction, use a different pivot foot, or even decide to pass the ball out to an open teammate.
It sounds like this skill takes a lot of practice and experience. The more you play, the better you get at reading those subtle cues.
That's true. But even experienced players can benefit from consciously focusing on this aspect of the game. Coach Huber recommends studying film of your opponents, not just to scout their offensive plays, but also to analyze their defensive habits.
It's like taking notes on their tendencies, understanding their go-to moves, and looking for patterns you can exploit.
Exactly. And then when you're on the court, try to apply those observations. Look for those familiar cues and be ready to react accordingly. Of course, no matter how well you prepare, sometimes the defender will surprise you.
So what happens then? Do you just freeze up?
No. That's when you need to rely on your instincts, your quick reflexes, and your ability to improvise. Coach Huber talks about developing your basketball IQ, that innate understanding of the game that allows you to make split-second decisions under pressure.
It's about thinking on your feet, adapting to the unexpected, and finding creative solutions.
Exactly. Sometimes the best solution is to simply draw a foul. If you can't get a clean shot off, try to create contact and get to the free throw line. Those free throws can be crucial, especially in close games.
That's a great point. It's not always about making the flashy play, it's about making the smart play.
You got it. So to wrap things up, remember that scoring in the paint is a multifaceted skill. It's about the physical moves, the mental game, the strategic thinking, and the ability to react and adapt to the ever-changing dynamics of the game.
Coach Jim Huber's 9 best basketball moves to score in the paint has given us so much to think about and practice. It's like a masterclass in dominating down low.
And remember, practice is key. The more you work on these moves, both individually and in game-like situations, the more confident and effective you'll become. Who knows, maybe one day you'll even develop your own signature move that leaves defenders scratching their heads.
That's the dream. So as you hit the court, remember the wisdom of Coach Hubert. Embrace the challenge and strive to become an unstoppable force in the paint. And of course, remember to like and subscribe to Sound of a Swish for more deep dives into the world of basketball. Until next time, keep practicing, keep learning, and keep that passion for the game burning bright.